The rain poured relentlessly, adding to the eerie atmosphere that surrounded the abandoned asylum. I stood at the entrance, my heart pounding as a chill ran down my spine. The building loomed before me, a dark silhouette against the stormy sky. Despite the rain, I couldn't resist the pull to explore the place that had haunted my dreams for weeks. The rusty gate creaked as I pushed it open, the sound echoing through the desolate courtyard. The wind whispered secrets as it rustled the overgrown vegetation that had taken over the once manicured grounds. I stepped over the threshold, my footsteps echoing in the empty corridors. The air was thick with a musty scent, a mixture of dampness and decay that sent shivers down my spine. The first room I entered was a hallway lined with tattered wallpaper and broken furniture. A flickering light bulb cast eerie shadows on the walls, making the peeling floral patterns appear to come alive. I felt a strange sensation as if I was being watched, but when I turned, there was nothing there. I tried to dismiss the feeling as my imagination, but it persisted, a knot of unease forming in my stomach. As I moved deeper into the asylum, the air grew colder and the silence became suffocating. I stumbled upon a room that seemed to have been a makeshift laboratory, its equipment covered in a thick layer of dust. Glass jars containing murky liquids lined the shelves, and a sense of dread settled over me. Suddenly, a whisper echoed in my ear, so faint that I could barely make out the words. My heart raced as I spun around, only to find emptiness staring back at me.
Time seemed to blur as I wandered through the maze-like corridors. Each room I entered held a piece of the past, fragments of lives that had once inhabited this place. I saw glimpses of patients in straitjackets, doctors with stern expressions, and nurses hurrying down the hallways. It was as if the walls themselves were replaying the asylum's history, and I was an unwitting spectator. In a dimly lit room, I stumbled upon a collection of old patient files. As I flipped through them, a sense of overwhelming sadness washed over me. These were people who had suffered, who had been forgotten by the world. I closed my eyes, trying to shake off the heaviness that settled in my chest. When I opened them again, I found myself face to face with a figure standing at the far end of the room. My breath caught in my throat as I stared at the figure. It was a woman, her pale face obscured by long, disheveled hair. She wore a tattered white gown, and her eyes glowed with a haunting intensity. She reached out a hand toward me, her lips moving as if she was trying to say something, but the words were lost, carried away by the howling wind that seemed to seep through the cracks in the walls. I backed away, my heart racing as a mixture of fear and sympathy consumed me. The woman's gaze followed me, pleading and tormented. With each step I took, the feeling of being watched intensified, and the whispers grew louder, a cacophony of voices that echoed in my mind. I fled the room, my footsteps echoing in the hallway as I ran blindly, desperate to escape the clutches of the asylum. Finally, I burst through the front doors and into the rain-soaked night. The asylum loomed behind me, its windows like empty eyes staring out into the darkness. As I caught my breath, I realized that the whispers had faded, replaced by the sound of raindrops hitting the ground. I knew I had to leave, to put the horrors of the asylum behind me. But even as I walked away, I couldn't shake the feeling that a part of me still remained within those haunted walls. The asylum's history, its secrets, and the tormented souls that had once inhabited it were now a part of me, forever intertwined with my own story. And as I looked back one last time, I couldn't help but wonder if the echoes of the abandoned asylum would continue to haunt me long after I had left its grounds.